am back. I just went through a period of filming where I got no audio because my mic was muted. I'm checking to make sure that is not the case again. I must have accidentally pressed the button. So that's that. I am wearing some snazzy socks that you cannot see, but I'll bring them into the frame. Here they are. I don't know if you can see them. There they are. In this video, I am actually going to talk about Scooby Doo. Some of the numerous films that have been produced, and one specifically that I really liked as a child. If you haven't already, I did 2 videos, so a 2-part sort of video of movies that I like, my favorite childhood movies from ages 0 to 12, and I am gradually going through each of them and then talking about watching them and then talking about them. So that is what I have done, and today is episode 1. So the first movie is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. So it is a 1998 animated film. First thing I noticed was it was a short movie, but that is in no ways bad. I enjoyed that it was short. I could just put it on. It was like not much longer than like episodes I watch of shows. So it was like an hour and 18 minutes. So I'm like, okay, this is something quick I can just put on. It was good and atmospheric at the start. I liked the music, and that seems to be an ongoing thing throughout a lot of the Scooby-Doos, is the music is good, at least with the cartoons. Live action, still pretty good, but I think the cartoons did it better. Don't at me. Just a good, creepy, atmospheric start of the movie. And I like how it kind of goes into each of their individual lives. So it seems to be at a time where they've broken up from Mystery Inc. and they've gone separate ways. So Scooby and Shaggy are working together in customs at an airport. Daphne and Fred are working together on a show. Daphne's like the talk show host sort of thing, and Fred is everything else. And Velma is working at, what was it? The Mr. Inc. bookstore. So all seem pretty fitting for the characters to an extent. I never would have imagined Scooby and Shaggy in a customs job, but I mean, it makes sense considering Scooby's a dog and they probably wouldn't have separated them. So it's one of the jobs you can do when they weren't going to be cops. So there's a little bit of a spoiler, but it happens at the start of the movie, so meh. Scooby and Shaggy get fired because in customs, obviously, there's a lot of food. So the contraband room was full of food and they saw it. I don't know how long they were in the job, obviously not that long. And they ate all the food, as they do. They are very food motivated, so no surprises. So yeah, the start of the film was pretty good. It set a different sort of tone for Scooby-Doo, but a good one. So I'm not obviously going to get into like all in depth about what exactly happens in everything. I'm just going to talk about aspects and yeah, whatever popped up. It's not going to be a big review that you can use in your uni degrees or whatever. Just I'm here talking. So that's that. One song really stuck out as a big memory for me. I remembered it clearly, and it was called, I had no idea what it was called. I had to kind of Google some of the lyrics. The Ghost is Here by Skycycle. So I will try and play a little bit of that and hope I don't get taken down. Okay, I won't go through the whole song, but it's a jam. It brought back memories. Like, I find the Scooby-Doo films have some pretty good songs in them, to be honest. All very fitting, probably mostly, pretty much, I think they're all gonna be made for Scooby-Doo. Like, that one's obviously made for Scooby-Doo. They're talking about a man in a suit being the crook and ghosts and stuff like that. So it's obviously made for Scooby-Doo, and it's fitting, and it's just fun. Who doesn't like it? It sets a mood, and I enjoy it. So there's a woman they run into in the episode called Lena, and she looks very stereotypical, like a traveler woman or Romani. I'm not exactly sure. She just had like a bandana, and she looked like Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame in a way, but sounded very southern. I don't know. She just did, but she just had that vibe. She had the dark hair. She gave off the vibe. So Daphne pretty much wants to find a real ghost for her show, and they hear about this house that is haunted, and I think specifically from that Lena, I was going to call her Esmeralda, she's not Esmeralda, Lena, who works there. She told them that it is haunted. Yeah, and they go through all these different people, which are all very good characters and drawings and etc. A lot of characters with different accents. I'm not sure if that's intentional. Yeah, I don't know. I guess shows diversity, but there were like French, which I actually wasn't sure if it was French. It kind of shifted, so I'm not sure. It was like one of the main one of the main people that owned the haunted house, or it was really like an estate. She may not have been French. I really am not 100% sure with her. There was like Southern Belle accent, which was Lena. There was some Creek, I'm going to call him Creek Man South accent. It was like a Southern, like what you imagine, like Deliverance sort of situation, which I will go into in a second. And then it was Mexican. So there was a few accents. I'm not sure if they were meant to be all different, but they were. I'm not exactly sure what was happening. There was a lot of different nationalities, it seemed, which is cool, but it's also a small town, which probably wouldn't have happened as much with that many different sort of accents, but whatever. This Creek man, who was very, like, dodgy, he seemed like he was going to attack them all the time, then has, like, this random pig that seemed to be his, and then he was like, this here is my haunting pig, which was very Deliverance. I don't know what that was about. I will probably insert a clip on that if I can find it.
What is that? This here's my haunting pig.
One thing that I have to remark on, which I didn't hear in any of the other movies, but it might have just been earlier movies that he said it like this, but Fred, in the way he says treasure, is like treasure.
Treasure? Aha!
I don't know if it's purposeful, but it is amusing to hear it. I think it was Creek Man because he started chasing them, but he chased them with the pig, and then Shaggy, one line I will say was a good line. I found it amusing. You may not, but hey, I will insert it.
Zoinks! How humiliating! Chased into a hole by 1/3 of a BLT!
I thought it was amusing even as a vegetarian. It was good. Honestly, with that film, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. I probably would watch again. I have no issues with it. It was amusing. It was good atmosphere, good characters, good drawings. And just quite a good movie. I would recommend. Next movie is Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghosts, which was 1 year later, so it was 1999. Yet again, it was a good, dark, ominous, like, intro with, like, ominous music. Good, they're really good with setting an atmosphere, I found. Yet again, I'm going to go into quotes, and I'll probably add them in, because I'm not going to do them justice. So, one I enjoyed was another Shaggy line. Shaggy has some really good lines in these, I feel. Was,
and we would have gotten away with it too. if it wasn't for this meddling writer.
Like that's a twist.
So they're in this small town, and there's this writer who writes novels, mystery ones. He kind of joins them along on this adventure. So they go to this small village, and there was a good transition I noted, which was transition from, did you say Puritan village? And then it transitioned into a fire. I thought that was good. Puritan villages make me think of fire and burning people on the stakes. So I liked that transition. So as per usual, Scooby and Shaggy ate a lot of food. Like, they go to restaurants or cafes, or diners it seems to be, I guess. And they eat like everything on the menu, it seems, like huge amounts. And then they end up like with huge guts. I thought it was kind of different and creative. They like pushed their stomachs up into their chests to create like this big buff, like kind of Johnny Bravo sort of chest. And that occurred when they saw some girls in an alleyway, and then like he slicked back his hair. Obviously it didn't work, but I thought it was kind of amusing and funny.
Girls! Rules! Like, hi, girls.
There's a song which is called I'm a Hex Girl, which is pretty good. I will play it.
I'm gonna cast a spell on you. You're gonna do what I want you to. Mix it up here in my little bowl. Say a few words and you lose control. I'm a hex girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm a hex girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you. Put a spell on you.
So I'm pretty sure that's one of the ones I like tried to perform on a trailer as a kid, because I thought it was great. One issue is Scooby and Shaggy's dancing is kind of uncomfortably cringy. They just, I don't know what to say. I'll have to insert them in or link you to videos of them dancing, but it's not good. And I guess it makes sense for the characters, but it's still hard to watch sometimes. Another quote by Shaggy, which he said to the cook at the diner.
Like you should have been making pot roast instead of cooking up trouble.
That's a bit of a spoiler. It, I think, turned out the diner owner guy was one of the ones responsible for the ghost in the town. Which I haven't really talked about. What it is the storyline is that there's this, people are blaming this witch. So there's a witch around and like a witch's ghost, and she's terrorizing the town essentially. And then, like usual, they find out that it is some townspeople that are causing the trouble, and it's all a fake. But then, which I found good, was they twisted that around to it actually having a ghost, but it hadn't been released yet. So the events turn out there is a witch that she's just trapped in the book. So the writer is the bad guy. He's like the ancestor of that ghost, and he releases her from that book, but then she kind of turns against him. It's a whole thing. I advise to watch it. Yeah. And like at the end, there is a giant turkey dancing to the Hex Girls. It's part of like the witch like made things all different, and like she made a giant turkey pretty much. And it does like a Egyptian, like walk like an Egyptian dance at the end, which was so weird but like amusing. It's just, Scooby Doo can be super weird at times. Good movie. Great plot twist, I found. Next movie is Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, which was in 2000. So these are all very close to each other. Yet again, cool music and intro. Big thumbs up from me. This one kind of goes into government conspiracy, like Area 51 sort of things. So it turns out that the Mystery Inc. group, they end up trespassing on like United States government land, and they are in this town, very small, like outback town. I guess not. And do you consider it outback in America? I don't know. Desert town. And there's like this rumor that there's aliens around. Pretty much the locals just agree there's aliens. And then there's this crazy old like conspiracy theorist man that believes that he was experimented on by aliens. So they did like the stereotypical like crazy guy that believes in aliens. Even though all the town do, he was just more adamant about it. Yet again, I feel like, I don't know if I mentioned actually in one of the other ones. I don't know why I didn't, but I find in a lot of these movies that I really like some of Daphne's outfits. So I liked one of the first outfit in this movie. Very simple, it's just shorts and like a tank top, but I liked it. I liked the colors. I would wear it. Yeah, Scooby imitating a rattlesnake in it is both cool and weird. I also wondered in the movie, and I guess in multiple movies he does it. I'm not sure as much in the live actions, but in the animated he like essentially like shapeshifts in a way to different creatures, which I'm not sure how he does it or what he is to be able to do that, but he can, and it's kind of weird. I don't know I know he's meant to be a dog, but is he? Scooby and Shaggy are hopeless. Like, they're good characters, but they're so hopeless. Like, I don't get in a way why they even have them on the Mystery Inc. team, except that it seems that in their mistakes, they seem to somehow fix the problem by crashing into things. Usually they're not the ones to work it out, but they manage to catch criminals in their clumsy ways. That's the only way. Their mistakes just work in their way, and they're still hopeless, but it works for them in a way. I found it odd that the aliens in the movie were chasing Scooby and Shaggy, but on like hoverboards. Well, like hover scooters, more like. It was... I can't say I've seen that happen in a movie, so that's pretty interesting. On that note, the chasing montages of Scooby and Shaggy are iconic, and you cannot tell me otherwise. They occur in, I think, virtually every film. And they're just iconic. I mean, you cannot tell me otherwise. Don't. Moving on, Scooby-Doo and Shaggy get abducted, which this bit I don't understand to an extent, because they were pretty much what happened is they stayed at the crazy man's house who showed them pictures which turned out to be paintings that he had drawn of aliens and like sightings. And the others all slept inside, but Scooby and Shaggy slept on the roof of the building. Now, for a guy that thinks he was abducted by aliens and is concerned about the abduction of aliens and experiments from them, why would you make your visitors stay on the roof of a building in the area where there are aliens at night? Why? And two, why did Scooby and Shaggy do it? They were scared of aliens. Why are they sleeping on a roof where they're probably going to get abducted by aliens? Pretty much the aliens were like saying that they were going to give them a physical exam. We all know what that is in alien abductions. And And Shaggy, yet again, I feel like all my quotes are Shaggy's, says,
You will be released after questioning and physical examination.
Like, sorry, but our health plans don't cover physicals.
after the abduction and everything, later on, they end up in the desert, and Scooby and Shaggy find their dream girls. So there's Amber the dog and Crystal, who is a human. Crystal's dressed like a stereotypical 1960s hippie, and her dog somewhat is. It's like a golden retriever with a bandana. Once they end up back in town and run into Fred and everyone who didn't know they were abducted, they thought they just went and got food, as you do. Shaggy starts saying how Crystal is wonderful. Like, Crystal, she's wonderful. Like, he's all airy-fairy. So is Scooby, to be honest. And Fred sniffs Shaggy's bottle of water, which I thought it was pretty good. I never understood as a kid, but obviously was smelling to see if he had been drinking a little too much vodka. Around that time, Shaggy has, like, I assume it's like a daydream. We go into like this music number where Shaggy's singing about his life with Crystal, or what it could be. And it's very hippie, like very hippie colors, and kind of goes into like hippie themes. I will link it. I don't know if I'll show the whole thing. I might play a little bit.
And when it comes to say I do, we'll have a tie-dye wedding. Our house will be so very fine. We'll fill it up with stuff from 1969. How groovy, just us two.
And he mentions in it, we'll fill it up with stuff from 1969, which I thought was smart because that's actually when Scooby-Doo was like first created or like released, was in 1969. So, good little add in there by the writers. Scooby trying to impress Amber was really cute. Crystal is a government agent, it turns out. So she's not just a nature photographer, which she originally said, which kind of weirds Shaggy out, but he gets over it pretty fast, and the dog Amber is too. So they work together. And yeah, and then later on, it turns out Amber and Crystal are actually aliens. And, like, the government agent thing wasn't a lie. They're just government agents from space. From, like, a different planet. So, they have just taken, like, dog and human form. So they look completely different when they're not. Not scary, but kind of weird looking. And what happened was the broadcasts that Crystal and Amber got were from the 60s. Hence why they were dressed that way. They thought everyone else was going to be dressed that way. Luckily Shaggy was, but it just lost in translation a little. And she said,
Oh, we thought all Earthlings dressed this way.
Hey, why mess with a classic look?
pretty much what happens is Amber and Crystal have to go back to their planet, report back. And I remember being sad as a kid that they had to leave because I liked their characters, and Scooby and Shaggy were very happy with them, and they had to go. So pretty much what it turned out to be is that everyone, the ones that were chasing everyone as like aliens, were actually scientists who had found like a cave of gold, and the ones that we're not chasing them, but we're actually aliens with Crystal and Amber. Moving on, we got Scooby-Doo, the live action, which was in 2002. So, I think like a majority of you will have seen this, but if you haven't, you should give it a watch. I'll go into what I think about all of the films in comparison to each other after I finish talking about these films, but let's just go on to Scooby-Doo, the live action. So, Shaggy's expressions are honestly everything. They make the movie. That's that. I forgot Pamela Anderson was at the start of the film. Completely forgot. I guess it's a sign of the times. Not the song. Just thinking. Scooby, from what I remember, like, I don't remember him being as weird looking as he actually is in the film, but I find him kind of weird looking. I get it's probably part of the visual effects of the time, but yeah, he's just a little odd. I don't know what it is, but he's odd. Daphne's purple outfit at the start of the film, I do want it. Daphne's outfits in general, I do tend to like a fair few of them, not all. I completely forgot Isla Fisher's in it. She's like a big part of the film, but I forgot. I think it's the blonde hair puts me off. I just forgot it was her. There's one bit I think on the plane, when Shaggy meets Isla Fisher. He asks her name, or she introduces herself, and she says her name is Mary Jane. And all I could think of, because Shaggy says that that's his favourite name, and I'm thinking, of course, I feel like there's a joke I didn't get as a kid in there, but makes sense looking back, because you can't tell me he doesn't smoke something. I forgot Rowan Atkinson is in it. I don't know how, but I forgot. I forgot half the people were in it. The special effects for the monsters weren't great, but I guess they were of the era. But then, like, also thinking to, like, Jurassic Park, the effects were better in that, but it's hard to say, like, they're different sort of things, and it kind of works for the film in a way, because it's not like a serious film. If you're watching it to see a serious kind of creepy film or something, it's not that. It's never going to be that. It'd be kind of cool if they did make it that. Not specifically that one, but Scooby-Doo, like, really creepy. Scooby can be really cute at times. Also, Scooby and Shaggy's relationship is really cute in that movie. So it's something really good about it. Daphne Stunts are pretty bad. I don't know if it's purposeful. It does work for the movie, but it's so obvious that she is not actually doing flips on her own, because it's like so like she's either on a rope or they've just, I don't know what they're doing, but it looks fake and it's obvious. I just don't know if it's purposeful or not. It's hard to tell in the Scooby-Doo movies because they kind of work. They're just really cheesy and corny in a way. And I don't know. And I'd forgotten that Scrappy-Doo was the culprit. And I think the reason why is because I don't think you'd be able to guess if you hadn't seen the movie, obviously. It's a good length. It's goofy and it's stupid in many ways, but it's not bad, and it's iconic and it's very nostalgic. Next is Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, which is in 2004. All the same cast, yet again, main cast. I like how at the start they have the mystery van pulling up to the red carpet, but it's more like a mystery limousine situation. It looks the same, it's just stretched. Velma meets this guy called Patrick, who is Seth Green. Him and Velma were really cute at the start. I shipped them very much so. That was my first impression. And what happens is Velma really likes him. She like wants to go on dates with him, but she's like really scared. She's not obviously one to date much at all. So of course she gets Daphne's advice, and Velma says to Daphne,
I've fought werewolves and ghosts, but in the end I know we usually unmask them and it's just a shrivelly little scared man inside.
Well, it's the same with dating.
I had completely forgot. Like, this is a weird thing to happen in a kids movie, but Velma comes down the stairs when she is seeing Patrick, in like a full-on orange, like leather sort of cat suit situation. And then she says,
"Who's your mommy?"
It is very weird for a kids movie, but it works for the adults in the room. I guess kids won't get it. So that's something. There's a later point in the movie where I really don't know how to feel about it. Scooby is dancing with like a black afro and like a 60s disco outfit. It's like a jumpsuit. And Shaggy comes in looking like a pimp. Yet again, never really... Maybe the Scooby-Doo part, I kind of got a new 60s. The pimp, I wouldn't have really thought of that as a kid, but he very much so looks like a pimp. When he was dancing, Scooby was dancing with the afro and like the outfit. Like he wasn't wearing a mask or anything, mind you. No one knew he was a dog. I'd never understood that. Like he seems to, in these like live actions, no one knows. I don't know how. Like the afro doesn't, or the outfit doesn't hide that he's a dog. He very clearly is a dog. It's not until after like the afro falls off of him that they realize. I'm like, okay, but what did you think he was? That's not a human. It's a very weird looking human if you think that's human. And then without the wig, you would know it's still the same person. Or dog in this case. So I don't know.
But we gotta make like your personality and split.
So another Shaggy quote. I'm all for the Shaggy quotes. There goes to a point where Shaggy has a woman's body. I forgot how this occurred. But he ends up with a woman's body and it is so weird. I felt very uncomfortable. It's like his head is detached. I get that it's the effects probably that they did, but like it's weird. I don't like it. It's super weird. There's one point that is actually a Scooby-Doo quote that isn't really much of a quote, but I just liked it for some reason. Because they were like, who do you think you are? And then Scooby says,
Scooby? Dooby? Doo!
So it turns out Heather Jasper Howe was the evil masked figure that tormented them throughout the film. And Heather Jasper Howe was the journalist, TV journalist that like interviews them at stuff throughout. And her cameraman helped. And then it was revealed via removing another of her masks, like her actual, like Heather Jasper Howe's face that turned out to be a mask, that it was Dr. Jonathan Jacobo. One thing I can say about this film is, although a lot of the effects are a little iffy, the mask taking off, like, is pretty cool. Like, their faces are pretty cool. I think they do a pretty good job at mask removals. I don't see issues there. Could be wrong. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. But I think it's one of the better effects in the films. And after all that is actually all of those films. So I have some general notes throughout them. Looking back and watching it as an adult, I actually prefer the cartoons. And I think I did as a kid. It's just something about the cartoons that seem to be a little more based on creepy aspects, or I don't know, either aliens or the bad guy essentially, and the characters I just feel are a little more likable in some senses, especially Scooby and Shaggy. In the live actions, I find them a little much. Like, it's very, I know it's an American film, but maybe it's a lot more Americanized in a way for the viewers at the time. It's very cheesy, and that's fine. Very based on fart humor, which I don't mind. It's just like, it's not my favorite sort of humor anymore. Maybe as a kid it was amusing, but now I'm like, was it necessary? I don't know. it's just, it can be a little cringy, I feel. And I know that's a lot to say. The Scooby Doo movies are very loved as a big nostalgic film, but we gotta be honest. And I adore Scooby Doo. I grew up adoring Scooby Doo, so don't bump me off for this. But they're not the best films. They are very of their time, which is fine. I enjoy them. It's just, it can be a little cringy, very corny, weird. But the characters that play them are all very good. Obviously, they were famous at the time. For the most part, I think pretty much all. Some are a bit. I'm not 100% sure, but they played their characters well. They took a spin on them all, so that was great. Good to see how they did them differently to the actual previous films that were cartoons. Because the way they wanted to do the film probably wouldn't have worked if they didn't change their characters, honestly, at least a little. The music in all of them, especially the cartoons, are quite good. I enjoyed all the music. It was very fitting for each film and very either nostalgic in some ways because I remembered them quite well, or created a very good atmosphere, I guess, for each film. The Scooby Doo song, which is in, I think, every film. If you don't know, it's like, Scooby Dooby Doo, where are you? Yeah. Iconic, nostalgic, banger. It's different in pretty much every movie, I think. Not overly, but just enough to fit each one. I enjoyed them all. I would advise to watch, I would say, mainly the animated films. Of course, I didn't mention them all, but there are a lot of them. I can't speak for all of them, but the ones I at least reviewed, I would advise to watch. They are short, all under an hour 30, usually just above an hour, maybe an hour, up to an hour 20, I think. So if you have like a spare little bit of time, it's great to chuck on. You don't have to dedicate a whole 3-hour span of your life for this movie. You can watch a few in the time you could watch a Quentin Tarantino film. So you could watch 3. How's that? Live actions you can watch as well, but personally weren't my favorites, but still pretty good. And if you want to feel back in the early 2000s, it's a great way to do it because very early 2000s. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am not a good reviewer and this is not in depth. I just wanted to spill some of my thoughts about each of them. So give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video. Alright, bye guys.